All right, hello. I'm Power 5 meteorologist Katie McGraw doing a streaming here on multiple platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and also on Twitter because we have the threat for strong and severe thunderstorms. So what I'm going to start with this Facebook Live and this live in general is I'm going to go ahead and share to my personal page. And that's always a question that or favor that we ask of you if you are watching the streams right now, especially on social media platforms, to retweet or to reshare. And that way other folks across Northeast Ohio that maybe don't follow News 5 Cleveland then can get that information as well. So I'm just going to take 1 second to do that, and then we'll get started looking at what's going on across the area. Bottom line, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch already issued. That's the area in yellow, and one severe thunderstorm warning. We do have a flash flood warning issued as well. This looks to be the main event here, but it is going to be a little bit of a nowcast situation where we have to continue to watch the atmosphere over the course of the next, so we're at just about 4 o'clock. Next 2 to 3 hours will be our most critical time frame, and it's mostly to the south and east of Cleveland. Once it gets into PA, it's Pennsylvania's issue, so it will be moving out probably by about 7 or 8 o'clock. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share this really quick, and then we'll get started. I'm not seeing any comments yet, so if you have any questions, feel free to list those questions and comments, and I'll try to get to them. And we'll also, in about 7 minutes here, I'm going to be also doing the 4 o'clock news, so on News 5. So there'll be periods of time where for about 30 seconds you won't hear me talking. Then it'll feel almost like a TV presentation because it is going to be. And then we'll come back and reference all of you folks that are watching on your phone, laptops, tablets, whatever it is. All right, so I was able to successfully share that. So we're going to do just a little deep dive here of all of the conditions that we're seeing across Northeast Ohio. First things first, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that is issued. So that is the area in yellow. Does not include Cleveland, Cuyahoga, does not include any areas to the west of Cleveland, like in Lorain County, Sandusky, Ottawa, Ashland, Richland, not included. Even Lake County, not included. So we do have them for Ashtabula, you have them for Geauga, Portage, Summit, Wayne, Stark, Holmes, Coshocton, New Philadelphia, or Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, and Trumbull County. So those are the counties that we have to monitor as we move through the next 2 to 3 hours for the threat for severe storms. We are seeing right now, as I mentioned, we have one severe thunderstorm warning that is issued right now. This is for Portage County. So we're going to zoom in. It started farther out to the east. It was originally issued about 25 minutes ago or so, and it will be in effect until 4 p.m. So we're going to focus on this storm just for a second because it is our one warned storm. Not to say that the other storms that are out there right now aren't packing a punch in their own way, because all hazards are going to be possible, from heavy rain to tons of lightning. You still could get some small hail. You could get strong winds, maybe not enough to cause damage, but that's still that possibility. So it's right over industry right now. And this storm, let's look in, first off, you see that there's tons of heavy rain. I'll turn the lightning on just for a second so you can get an idea that, of course, yes, there's lightning strikes associated with this storm as well. But it's also important to see what's going on underneath the hood a little bit. So we're looking at velocity here. I'll turn off the lightning strikes because truthfully, sometimes it's hard to see anything. So what we're going to be monitoring, particularly with this storm, you're seeing that there's the green and the red. Now, when I zoom out a little bit farther here to just explain how velocity works, notice that our radar site that we use is in Cleveland. When you're on the west side of Cleveland, it's all showing up as this uniform green. When you're on the east side, it's all red. So basically, when you're coming towards the radar site, it's in green. When you're going away, it's in red. What happens sometimes, and where velocity is incredibly useful, is when you start to see red and green on the wrong side of the screen and also around each other. So that's where there's this threat right now, right around industry, for us to see some strong winds, but also potentially some hail. Not overly concerned with how tight this rotation is with it in terms of causing a tornado, but that's what we have to monitor as we move throughout the next several hours. That it is obviously already producing enough damaging straight line winds, but there is some rotation showing up as well, just not enough for it to be confirmed as a tornado on the radar, at least not yet. So that's what we're going to be monitoring. There's also this great button that we have here that shows us what we're seeing on the radar in just a little bit of a clearer fashion. When you're seeing purple, hail. So a lot of times when you're getting hail production, very similar setup to getting tornadoes. You need a little bit of rotation, and basically hail is building up inside the storm, gets heavy enough and falls out. That's when you'll see hail on the ground. So Wendy Mann said Yorksville West Side was hit really hard. Power line, oh gosh, lines and power out. So that's down into our southern communities. Is Canton and Stark, Ohio clear for severe weather today, or are more storms on the way? Great question, Ricky. So let's zoom out here. We only have that one warned storm for the time being. We're looking at all the areas that are showing up as potentially producing some hail. We'll be monitoring this. We could also see strong winds that don't cause damage. But for the Canton area right now, looks like you're seeing just some plain old rain. Let's add the lightning strikes because you're probably getting some lightning around the area. Not so much, honestly. So you're just getting rain right now. So this is an interesting one because you're certainly included in the severe thunderstorm watch. But right now, getting all that stratiform rain that you're experiencing basically for all of Stark County really will likely limit the potential for it to get really strong or severe, even with this line that we're watching just behind it, because it will make the atmosphere a bit more stable. So Stark County is kind of an interesting one. Areas that haven't seen nearly as much rain, a little bit more in the firing line, truth be told. So areas like Ashtabula, southern Ashtabula, northern Trumbull County that are very dry, and you're bringing in this line right here. Look at it's even trying to bow out right here, even though it's not warned. From Paynesville to Twinsburg, it has just that slight little pull, that little bowing effect. It almost looks like an archer's bow. That's when you can get some strong winds embedded within there as well. So honestly, truth be told, I think that there's a possibility that in Canton, Stark County, that you might be in the clear here. You're getting some rain, you're getting some lightning and thunderstorms, but in terms of the severest threat, I think you're in one of the best spots for that watch. Carol, I understand. I hope it makes you feel better sharing that comment. I miss him too, but I have a job to do, so I hope you appreciate what I'm bringing to the table here. Canton, I was just asking, and Nathan, I was just asking that question. Oh, you're very welcome. Hi, Jason. All right, so we also have, because I don't want to leave our friends out farther to the south. So we did get a comment before from Wendy Mann on Facebook that Yorksville was hit pretty hard, and there's some power outages there, but also you have a flash flood warning. So a flash flood warning, you should take it as seriously as a tornado warning. You need to basically you should not travel unless absolutely necessary. And that flood warning is in effect, I believe it was at 8 until 8 p.m. It's not pulling up on this graphic, so let me just look up real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, until 5:30. So for the next hour and a half. So in the meantime, I mentioned this at the top of our stream here that we do have a 4 o'clock newscast that I'm also going to be a part of. So there'll be periods of time here. So I have about 2 minutes until I'm going to be, you might hear me repeat it. It might sound a little weird for about a minute. And that's because we're going to be doing some TV too. So you get a little background scene. So we still have about a minute to talk about this. But bottom line, so much rain has fallen. So let's look at just the rainfall rate right now down in this area that has this flash flood warning. Again, you need to treat it with extreme caution. It extends into southern Carroll County, this area here, picking up an extreme amount of rain in just a really short period of time, hence why the National Weather Service in Pittsburgh went ahead and issued that. So even right now, picking up over 6 inches of rain per hour, not the entire storm, but this is why we do have. So that's our current rain rate. If we look at the last 3 hours, I mean, majority of the heaviest rain has fallen in southern Tuscarawas County, southern Carroll County as well. Not to exclude other areas that picked up rain, because there have been spots today that have picked up. It's been a soggy morning for some of us. That lowers the threats for severe weather. So the folks that are picking up the thunderstorms mostly were dry for a lot of this morning and early afternoon. All right. I've got about another minute. Ashtabula County, Gale, I'm going to come to you after I do this weather hit on air. If you want to see it both, you can always turn News 5 on at the same time that you're watching this stream, because we do have our 4 o'clock news on right now, and I'm able to do both at the same time. Meredith, can you remind me? I'm talking to my director here, so I have a little earpiece in. I got 35 seconds, so I'm going to kind of prepare for that, and then we'll come back because Gail has a great question about Ashtabula. Zoom her out. Okay. I did. Okay. So right now we do have one severe thunderstorm watch and also a severe thunderstorm warning for Portage County at this time. It has been continuously pushing to the east, but with this severe thunderstorm warning, the main issue there is that there's a threat for damaging winds associated with it. There are other storms across the area here. We're also streaming right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter on News 5 Cleveland. So if you want to keep getting updates on the storms that are ongoing across the area, please join us there. When we look right now, though, the worst of the storms are basically to the east and south of Cleveland. We have that severe thunderstorm watch in effect until 10 p.m. I think that that's a little long. I think it's really right now, 4:03 p.m. until about 7, maybe 8 o'clock. This is the main event, and we're going to be watching it as it continues to pull farther to the east. At this time, we have the main threats being damaging winds, but also we could see heavy rain, and there's also frequent lightning. If I throw on the lightning here, you're able to see that there are plenty of lightning strikes. And I don't want to leave out Tuscarawas County. You have a flash flood warning until 5:30. Take that very seriously. A lot of rain has already dropped. Turn around, don't drown. All right. Thank you. All right, back to our streaming friends. During that hit, I'll cue you in a little bit of something that was happening to me. It was, the computer was not responding to me. I was trying to zoom in, and it was being naughty. It would not let me. Okay, there we go. It's, you know how technology is. I think it might be this mouse pad. Much better. It was the mouse pad. Okay, welcome, friends. So we do have the guards should play. Oh, good question from, I don't know if it's a question, but I agree. I think that for the Cleveland area, first off, your severe threat, much lower, and even your threat for storms, considerably lower than other folks. Ashtabula, Valerie and Gail wanted to know about Ashtabula. So I was talking about it before because somebody was asking about Stark County, and you see how it just has rain right now. There's not much lightning associated with it, and that's going to severely limit how much severe weather we're able to get down in Stark County. Conversely, let's zoom up a little bit farther to the north. We have right now a lot of dry air just ahead of these storms, and they're trying to bow out here a little bit from Ashtabula to Trumbull. When you start to see that little curvature, almost looks like a backward C, that's where you could see some stronger winds. So right now for Ashtabula, you have in the northern section of Ashtabula County, you have an area of some, first off, torrential rain, couple of lightning strikes, and this is going to be continuing to push to the east. So for the next half hour, this is going to be impacting northern Ashtabula County, including Jefferson. But then for our southern portions of Ashtabula County, and this would include Trumbull County as well. So we'll actually zoom it out a little bit more so you can see that this is the area we'll have to watch, which is currently ongoing from Chardon to Manaway. That also will continue to push to the east into southern Ashtabula County, northern Trumbull. Right in the heart of Trumbull County, right around Warren, Ohio, you have some thunderstorms ongoing, plus the severe thunderstorm warning that's just out to the west. So I would say that Ashtabula, you have an interesting next half hour, then the severe threat will certainly come down. Karen, I believe at Ashtabula, East Ashtabula, raining really hard. So beyond the fact that we could see some isolated damage associated with these storms, there is also that threat for some really heavy rain. Steady rain for a lot of our southern communities, but we already have picked up so much rain farther to the south, and that's where we have that flash flood warning. And we have already gotten some comments here that there's power outages, potentially already some damage, some poles being knocked down is the comment I saw. Plus, that's just our strongest storm in general. Oh, yes. Sorry, my director's talking to me. Yes. So my director, Meredith, she's in my ear. And so she mentioned that she's looking at some of the comments and that people are concerned about the Guardians game. So we're going to get to that in just 1 second. I just want to finish talking about the flash flood warning. But bottom line, short and sweet, I think that the Guard should be pretty good. But we'll take a look at the future radar in just a second here. So the strongest storm, certainly, even though it's not getting a severe thunderstorm warning, we have that flash flood warning. Tons of lightning down in Tuscarawas and Carroll counties, and there's so much rain. I'm going to turn the lightning off for just a second. Look at the current rainfall rates. So this area in purple, thankfully it's not going to rain for an hour, but you're dropping 4 to maybe 6 inches of rain in an hour here, at least according to radar estimates. So I mean torrential downpours, and there's already been about an inch and a half that has fallen, and another inch to maybe 2 inches will be possible, hence why we have the flash flood warning. All right, what do we got? So Cleveland right now in downtown, let's put the loop on the radar to talk about the Guards game here. We're going to go back 8 hours, just regular old rain, zooming in on Metro. So it had been a soggy morning. This is why we don't have a great severe threat, though, because of all of the rain, some of it which was heavy around the Cleveland area, that is now truthfully in the past. The front is pushing through as I speak. So let's look at Futurecast. We get updates on this one computer model. It's one of my favorites, especially when we're talking about now tracking. It's called the HRRR, is what we call it. High resolution rapid refresh. So you get a short one, 14 hours, every hour you get an update for it. It's lining up pretty well to what we're seeing right now at 4 o'clock. We have those stronger storms in our east, a little overdone in comparison to what we have on the current radar. But bottom line, you know that it's not raining right now in Cleveland, and it already has it there at 4 p.m. When we put it into motion, oops. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Lost my graphic. So when we put it into motion, you can see that showers are pulling away by the time we get to that first pitch at 6:40. So if anything, it might just be a little bit delayed to start, if anything. But I think that we're going to be pretty good for the Guards game. In the meantime, though, we'll have to be watching some other areas. We're at 4:09, and I think that, honestly, I'm not overwhelmed with what I'm seeing. There still is a ton of impacts from these storms, right? What we're going to be monitoring for is the threat for damage. All right, I have 4 minutes until my next weather hit. So I do ask everybody just to give me just a second here, because I will have to do the news instead of just streaming here. And I have to get a couple graphics ready, because so far my day has been just focused on this. So I do have to get a couple things ready to look at the future. So let me do that really quick. Mayor's giving me, my director, she's the best. She runs this joint basically when it comes to technology. She helped me get on the streaming here, and she's also very positive, giving me words of encouragement, and that's always appreciated. And I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Oh, Ben, thank you. Another one. That is so kind. I do appreciate all of you. I know that Channel 5 has gone through a lot of changes in the last few weeks, and I totally understand that, but I'm just here to help. So that's all I hope for you as well, is to keep you safe. So when we're looking at the radar here, oh, look at that. See, I'm just not overly impressed with what I'm seeing. This is going to be that main line that we have to watch. Let's look really quick. I just said that I was going to get my show ready, but let me look really quick. These are not super impressive. I'm feeling pretty good about it in terms of, so we always have to think about it in how much of an impact are we seeing? Is it ruining plans? Is it going to be difficult to drive home? How much of it is it going to cause damage? Is there a threat to life? So for these storms that we have, more of an impact to just plans, trying to get to and fro from work, trying to pick your kids up from something, that there is certainly still some lightning and heavy rain. So those are the impacts that we're seeing, more so than causing damage, which is good. Now, we already have had a couple of reports on this stream, actually, that there has been some damage down in Tuscarawas County and some power outages as well. And so we'll certainly be monitoring that. But I'm feeling encouraged about the next few hours that the severe threat is not overwhelming, which is really good news. I love storms as much as the next person. I'm a meteorologist, but in terms of having damage, I truthfully, I never want to see it. So it's interesting, but I don't want folks to ever have damage to their home. All right, now I'm actually going to get my show ready, and I'm actually going to grab a drink of water really quick. So please don't leave the stream, especially if you're interested in hearing more, because we'll look at the future radar as well coming up in just a couple minutes. So, and I've got about 90 seconds until my next weather hit. Thank you. Okay. We'll get that Guardians forecast in here for folks. Okay. So I have 1 minute until what we call my full weather. Oh, also, this has nothing to do with storms. Fun fact, our sun goes down at 9 p.m., first time in months. All right, 30 seconds. Streamers, I appreciate you. How long do I have, Meredith, for this hit? 20? Oh, I'm sorry. How long is the actual hit? Got it. Well, I hope you're all staying safe as we are dealing with some severe storms across Northeast Ohio. We have in yellow here the severe thunderstorm watch. That is in effect until 10 p.m. And almost always the National Weather Service gives a little bit of a buffer. Usually the watch issue longer than it's going to be needed. I would say by the time we get to 7, 8 o'clock, we're likely going to be able to see that watch get eliminated. And thankfully right now, we did have one severe thunderstorm warning that was issued. It has now weakened. So we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. Different story up into Northwest PA. That's where they have majority of the thunderstorms. But we do have one thing that we have to talk about, and this is for our southern communities. Down in Tuscarawas County, Carroll County, you have a flash flood warning, not a watch, in effect until 5:30 p.m. due to the heavy rain that has already fallen. Did get a report. We're actually streaming live on Facebook and YouTube if you want to join us there for that there was some damage and power outages being reported in this area that also has the flash flood warning. So for the next hour or so, take this warning seriously. Flash flood warnings are incredibly dangerous. It's similar to when you hear that there's a tornado warning issued. If you can wait to drive, please do so because of all the rain that has already fallen. We're looking here at just the last 3 hours, picking up how much rain has dropped in this area. Let's look real quick. So already about 1 to 1.5 inches, and we're still dealing with some showers and thunderstorms at this time. Thankfully, pulling away, but Carrollton, you're getting hit with some heavy rain at this moment. We also have heavy rain farther out to the west right now. Sorry, my computer's giving me just a little bit of trouble. Clear, please. There we go. So there's still this line of some heavy downpours, not that much lightning associated with it. Let me pop on lightning. It's not real strong, honestly, but this is what we have to watch as we move throughout the next hour or two, moving into Wayne County, moving into Holmes, plus the storms that we have farther to the north, getting hit pretty hard right now in Ashtabula County, from Ashtabula all the way down to Huntsburg, and then it kind of connects with that line. That is the cold front. So these storms are going to be most impactful now until about 7 p.m. So what does that mean for any evening plans such as the Guardians game? So right now, Cleveland is basically dry. You see that this is kind of the worst case slow scenario with these storms. I think they're going to be out of here sooner than what that computer model shows. So long story short, I think that if anything, guards might have a little bit of a delayed start if we see just a little bit more development behind the front. But generally speaking, this is the worst of it, and we should be much drier after that. And we are going to have a pretty dry week. Warmer temperatures once we get into Wednesday and Thursday, 80s return. Perfect. Oops, Father's Day is on the wrong thing. Okay, let's move that while I'm thinking about it. Fun fact, I get burned by the icons all the time. I always forget that they're there. All right, 13 minutes, so we can look at a couple comments here too. All right. Sean, you can't always believe what the weather says sometimes, in my opinion. I don't know if you're talking about me being the weather or weather apps, but weather is, I'll be the first to admit it, that we always have. This was a day that we weren't 100% sure how it was going to play out. It's very much a nowcast situation where you have to watch as the storms develop and as they flare, how they're going to interact with earlier showers, earlier clouds, etc. Backyard is flooded. Suzanne, where do you live? Suzanne, yes, doing our job always. That's our goal, is to always keep you safe. And I'm honestly just really encouraged with what I'm seeing right now. I actually, let's do one more little recap, and I might actually wrap up this stream because I don't think that the threat is overly high. But unless you guys want us to stay on stream, and shoot me a comment. If you want me to stay on, I can. But I'm feeling pretty good about it. So let's just do a quick little zoom into all these communities. Make sure that I'm not missing anything, because clearly these storms are packing a punch and impactful. Not everyone's seeing them. You're the west of Cleveland. I'm not ignoring you on purpose. It's that the weather's ignoring you. There's really nothing to show you here. The west side of Cleveland, you're just gapped basically with all of these storms. So the strongest storm right now, truthfully, is in Ashtabula County, northern Ashtabula. And at the beginning of this stream, we had talked about the reds and greens on the radar. So you actually have this little legend here too that shows you that when you're coming toward the radar site that's at Hopkins, so you live in Lorraine, you live in Mansfield, it will show up when you're looking at velocity as green. Then you get to the east of the radar site, that's when it will show up as red. Once you start to have the threat for rotating storms, that's when you can see them on the wrong side of the radar. And when they start to intertwine with each other and kind of wrap around, that's when we get more and more concerned. So yes, we have some strong winds here right now across Ashtabula County, but I'm not seeing any of those greens, which is good. If we try to look for some areas, there is a little spot here around Munson Hill and Chapel, and that's what's producing hail. So that's one of the best tools that you can use when you're looking for velocity. Is it rotating that can produce a tornado? Is it rotating enough to produce some hail? So we are seeing just a slight little bit of rotation in this storm in Ashtabula County, causing some hail development. It does not have a severe thunderstorm warning. Of course, you are included in that watch. We also have heavy rain right in that area as well. When you're talking about the purples here, once again, the legend is helpful. Extreme rainfall. So let these storms pass, even though they're not severe, let these storms pass because they're producing heavy rain, tons of lightning. Any storm is dangerous when we're talking about lightning. Oh, you live in, Suzanne lives in Carroll County in the flood warning. Oh no, we lost our images. What did I do wrong? Hey, Mayor. Sorry, folks, hold on one second. I'm not sure this isn't that helpful, right? So I'm going to run back. You might hear my director emeritus for a second because it's showing up not, oh, is it? Oh, it's back. There we go. Okay. Suzanne, yes. Okay, so her backyard is flooded. I'm not surprised, Suzanne, that you're dealing with the flooding because that is where we have the flash flood warning. And in terms of how much rain has already fallen, anywhere from about 1 to 2 inches. Thankfully, getting a little bit of a break here in southern Tuscarawas and into Carroll County. Well, not all of Carroll County. Let's zoom in a little bit closer. You're still seeing some pretty heavy rain from Augusta all the way over to Pine Hill, Millport, heavy rain. Let's check velocity here. So we run into a problem here when you're this far south that you're really far away from the radar site, so you don't get as clear of a picture. We could try to use the Pittsburgh one. Not overly concerned about winds there, but you're still dealing with heavy rain and on top of all the heavy rain that you've already experienced in Carroll County. All right, it's getting heavier and starting to hail. Wish you luck. All right, Minna, where are you at? Because there's definitely, we have areas of some heavy rain, but I'm feeling, like I said, I'm feeling pretty good. This is our biggest issue right now, I would say. We'll check out some of the other storms. It's messy, it's ugly, but it's not showing up as a ton of strong winds nor hail. You're probably getting some small hail in some of these spots, like around Worcester. It's showing up, but velocity has it almost as just straight line winds there. All right, so long story short, we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. I'll stay on until about 4:30 and just make sure that these storms right here, these ones are my biggest concern, because what's going to happen here, there was already some rain that down into our southern and eastern communities, some of which was torrential, causing flash flooding. And now this line behind it, as it moves through, it has a harder time becoming severe because the atmosphere has been overworked. It's taking away any of the instability that we had. We still have a decent amount of wind energy in our atmosphere, which was one of our biggest, most confident parts of the forecast for today, was that we had the wind energy. It was always going to be that question about the instability. And you notice that it's a little bit better over in Pennsylvania today. That's where they have several severe thunderstorm warnings from Jamestown, New York, around Chautauqua Lake, etc. That's where they are dealing with majority of the thunderstorms. But for us, our biggest issue, which is a big issue, is that flash flood warning. Michelle, I hope you feel better about that comment. And I don't disagree with you. He was fantastic at doing severe weather, but I'm just here to help and get you your forecast for today. So looking right now, we're going to do, as I mentioned, I'll stay on for about 5 more minutes. And if you guys have any questions during that time, let me know in the comments and we'll pull them up. Suzanne, amazing. Suzanne's my favorite right now. Awesome comments, very helpful getting that ground truth. Because, of course, I'm in downtown Cleveland. So watching the storms here, it's getting that ground reported truth, an hour, 2 hours away from us is so important. So she said, Suzanne's asking, the rain cooled air keeps severe weather down. Absolutely. So heat, humidity, both fuel severe storms, both fuel storms in general. But when you're a little too chilly, if your high temperatures are in the 60s, you have dew points in the 50s, it's a lot harder to get severe weather than when you have temperatures in the mid 80s, dew points in the mid 60s. That gives us that higher instability. And we look at a tool known as CAPE. So that is, if any of my weather enthusiasts here, you're probably familiar with it, but it's just basically a potential energy in the atmosphere. And it's not always indicative if you're going to get severe weather or not, but it's a really helpful tool. So when you get that rain cooled air, like Suzanne's mentioning, like what we had, for example, what you're dealing with in Stark County, where you're just getting that swath of some rain, this then stabilizes the atmosphere. So it'll be interesting to watch as this line that looks pretty solid right over, at least with the heavy rain, over Wayne County. And all the way up into Summit. So you're still getting great impacts from these storms because you're getting tons of rain, likely even some stronger winds at times, probably more so like 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. Let's pop on the lightning too. There's not that much lightning either. And lightning is an indicator of instability as well. So it's moving into Holmes County where we have the lightning strikes, but also Ashtabula was lit up like a Christmas tree before. Let's see. Still is. This is our strongest storm, and it's going to be out of Northeast Ohio here pretty shortly. So from Austinburg to Ashtabula, let's see how many lightning strikes there actually are right there. 57, just in this tiny little section of our viewing area. With also, then of course, you're getting that heavy rain. So let's look at the winds on this storm again. Just keep an eye on it. So once again, you have this little area right here, right around Plymouth. Not enough for me to be concerned about tornadoes, but Plymouth, if anyone's watching in just to the south of the lake in Ashtabula, if you've gotten any hail, because it's showing up that there's a possibility of hail. But again, just like Suzanne being my reporter elsewhere, getting that ground truth, of course, do it safely. Actually looks like it intensified just a hair there in this last scan that we got. What does it mean when the cap breaks? I've heard that term and I'm confused about it. So essentially, the best thing you can think about a cap is using an analogy of a pop bottle. So you shake a pop bottle and has a lid on it, it gets fizzy, it gets mad, but because the lid's on top of it, you're not going to see that explosion happen of the pop. Then if you take the lid off, aka the cap, that's when you see storms explode. So once a cap breaks, that is basically just a little area of warm air aloft. And sometimes it can prevent thunderstorms from developing. Sometimes it's a total thunderstorm ruiner. Most of the time, eventually, you'll get enough changes in the atmosphere where that warm air aloft or the cap then breaks and storms fire really fast. So you shake the bottle, take the lid off, boom, you're covered in pop. Or in this scenario, you're getting the threat for severe storms. So I hope that explains it a little bit. Let's see. I just got to make sure my puppies are okay. I hope that they're okay. Same, a little bit of lightning for us. I'm looking at all these comments here. Like I mentioned, I'm going to wrap this video up in just about a couple of minutes. So my next hit is at 3:20, or not at 3:20, in 3:20. And I think I'm going to end this stream before we get to that because I'm just not overly concerned with what I'm seeing on the radar. If that changes, we will let you know. I will come back into streaming. And of course, I'm going to be live on News 5 for the rest of this 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We'll have a break from 6:30 to 7, and then I'm back at 7. After that, the threat will be considerably lower for everybody, but so far, so good. I'm feeling pretty good at this moment. Our biggest issue is our friends in Ashtabula, right around I-90 there. If you can hold off driving or doing anything right now, please do so, just because that's where we're having our strongest storm. And remember, of course, down in Tuscarawas County and Carroll, even though it's not actively raining at this moment, there are still more showers to come. And you have that flood warning that has already been issued. And this is in effect until 5:30. So you still have, another hour of that warning. You're so welcome, Suzanne, Crystal. I appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, even the comments that we're getting, I'm hoping that what we've discussed here is calming any nerves or concerns. I will continue to keep an eye on the radar. I hope that you're able to join us as well on News 5 Cleveland. If you don't have regular cable, there's always an option to download our app, and you can watch it live. You can watch it live if you have internet access just on your computer as well. So long story short, I'm feeling okay, but we do have the threat still for the next couple of hours. It's going to be something I'm watching carefully. I'm watching this radar like a hawk. So everyone, please stay safe. Thank you so much for watching this stream, and we'll come back on as needed throughout the rest of this afternoon and evening. But I would say, and if you're curious about the Guards game, I'm thinking it looks pretty good. We'll show you the Futurecast one more time, real quick. Can't get her to be quiet, huh? So yeah, I think this is a little delayed, truthfully, but here we are at 7 p.m. Even if this was the scenario, which I don't think it's going to be, you've got already some clearing conditions. If anything, maybe getting just a little bit of a delayed start. But I think the Guardians game should go off without a hitch throughout the most part of this evening. And there's a stray shower chance tonight and tomorrow. Otherwise, we're going to have some quieter weather. All right, thank you all so much. Have a good night and be safe.